Without further ado, I bring on the great Laurie Glenn, who is very patiently waiting for me to finish my oration so she could deliver one of her own. First of all, welcome back, Laurie.
Hi, Ben. Thank you. It's great to be back with you. Appreciate you having me again.
All right. So Laurie Glenn, political strategist extraordinaire from the city of Chicago, and dear friend of this show. The concept of political theater, the concept of what is real with Donald Trump and what is just a game that he's playing. Do you distinguish one from the other? Go ahead.
So it seems to me that we have to really look at what Steve Bannon has said in public. And we have to look back at totalitarian theory of takeovers. And these are this one and the same, really. You go at them, you go at them, you go at them, you go at them, you go at them. You just overwhelm the system. You overwhelm people's sensibilities. You overwhelm the media. And to me, the real issue is not what Donald Trump is doing, but what the Democratic Party needs to do. Because I could say isn't doing, but for me, it's pretty clear. I mean, you look at this thing with Gaza. I mean, Donald, to me, Netanyahu kept the war going to get Donald Trump reelected. And sadly, actually, people who I actually, I work a lot with or have over the years with the Palestinian community. I am an atheist Jew and think we must work together. I've worked with the Muslim community as well as Black and brown communities and, all sorts of communities out there. And I know that they were upset with Joe Biden and they were upset with Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party. And it's understandable, their reasons. I will not take away what their fears were. But I will suggest I did at the time think it was short-sighted because to me it was very clear that Donald Trump was absolutely, once he was elected, that his payback to Netanyahu was enormous. Obviously, he had him as the first official visitor from around the world. And he's going to do whatever he can to strengthen Netanyahu's position with his own people and in the Middle East, because actually Netanyahu himself should be in jail for the nefarious acts he did within his own government, trying to take away the power of the courts. He and his wife, who are both crooked, in terms of financial, taking advantage of the system and the positions they were in. But so every day we're going to have something like that. And they're going after trans people. They're going after everyone. So to me, as you noted, I think all of this is just a hullabaloo to cover for the fact that Elon Musk, who has absolutely no security clearance, as far as I can understand. I mean, I understand that security clearance can take up to a year to get to the kind of level that Mr. Musk and his minions are in. And they really are these young kids who are ideologues. And they are none of them civil servants, and they are there for a purpose, and they are there to disrupt. Now, no one would say that bureaucracy doesn't need to always be adjusted and that bureaucracies themselves can become just a nightmare for any government, for any system. I myself am, entrepreneur. I hate bureaucracy. I have to have my own business. But I'm very, very clear that the stability of the United States government bureaucracy and its ability to pay trillions of dollars in payments to all the agencies, including Social Security, Medicare, all these kind of fundamental payments that the social contract, because you see, we have a social contract. I'm going to pay you taxes, and then you're also going to do these things for me as a citizen, right? And right now, I don't know exactly whether the CIA or the FBI or whatever, the NSA, actually cleared these people that it's okay for them to be in that system. And I think it's really important for us to keep our eye on that prize. We are not going to annex Canada, Mexico, the Panama Canal, and Greenland, nor are we going to be turning the Gaza Strip into the south of France. That is all obfuscation, and they want to overwhelm you, and they want to distract us, because what they want to do is take apart the Department of Education. They are taking apart USAID. They are trying to remove thousands of people who have already left. And I've talked to my friends in Washington, D.C. Thousands and thousands of people have been fired, basically, have been let go. And what I care about, because you see, I believe that democracy requires stability. I think that's really important, and trust. And all of this has been to destroy our democratic institutions, to destroy our sense of trust between one another. You know, I am considered a progressive, but when I was in my 20s, I elected Joe Harb, Republican, to a city in California. I worked for Wally Hickel, a Republican, for governor. I did things because it wasn't about as much the ideology as it was the health and well-being of a pluralistic democracy. And once you're in the game and you're running campaigns, a lot of it has to do with the integrity of the people that we're working with. And this idea of character, not that you are a character, but that you have character and that you have values, that you actually say what you mean and mean what you say, that you are honest, that you don't lie, that you should be ashamed if you say things to people that are untoward in the public space. So what we've been seeing, the Republican strategists. So you see, to me, Donald Trump is a figurehead in the sense that Ronald Reagan was a figurehead. And there's been a long-term strategy to destroy what we would consider our democratic values of pluralism. And that there are extremists on the right who have been very carefully planning this. And they're not just here. They're also in Hungary. They're also in other countries in the West, trying to destabilize those countries. Now, for me, it is just very unusual, this relationship even that Mr. Trump has with Mr. Putin. I think Putin is one of the most brilliant political strategists of our time. He destabilized Syria purposefully. He backed what happened in Syria so that Europe would become flooded with immigrants. And he has been instrumental. And I believe that there is some kind of partnership between, frankly, Putin and Trump. And it's pretty obvious. And so I think I'll stop in a minute, but I think it's really important that the American public think about right now what is going to happen. And the impact will be long-term and tough. And what I want to say to the Democratic Party, I want to say to the Democratic leadership, I don't want to hear your individual voices. I've been on all the social media platforms. I'm reading the news 24/7. I mean, it's just horrifying. I want to see a unified voice that stands for democracy and pluralism. I want to see you go to the Treasury and get arrested. I want you to call out. I want to see a coordinated act with Democracy Forward or Now or all the different institutions, indivisible. I think that what we need to do is have a war room or a peace room or a democracy room where you put all the people who are the opposition and we develop a coordinated strategy that needs to be now, and
Okay.
then for the long term.
All right, let's just pause for here for a moment. This concept of Donald Trump as a figurehead. I'm not sure. I definitely don't buy into that. And also just the advice. And you're not the only person I've heard who has said this, Laurie. So I hear this a lot. This is all political theater, so just ignore it. So
I'm not saying ignore it. That's not what I said at all, Dan.
okay,
I'm
well,
saying you have to take it very seriously right now.
okay, that's what I thought. Okay, I just want to
Democratic Party needs a strategy. And I want to know what Chuck Schumer is actually doing. And I don't want to hear that he's picking and choosing his battles. No, I want to see leadership.
All right, so wait.
You know why Fetterman is allowed to go vote for one of these, why he thinks it's okay, or I'm going to lose my seat if I don't. You know what? Out. Get all of you out. Right now, I want to see some real leadership from the Democrats. You just put this guy Martin in, who's a technocrat. Great. What's this? How is this technocrat going to support a strategy? And who is creating that strategy? Because I know that the Republicans have one. You know, they are having one. They are doing it right now.
Okay, just we had to clarify that. That point's a very important one. So you have to take, again, as I said at the beginning, you have to take very seriously what Trump says. There's real consequences for what he says. Lord knows, in terms of Gaza, the impact, the green light he has just given to Israel, beyond anything that Biden did. And that was pretty much of a green light just to wage war. All right, so let's go back to the concept of a democratic strategy. So what suggestions do you have as to what that strategy should look like? What approach do you think Democrats should take going forth right now? Just consider the way the world is right now. If you could change what the Democrats are doing right now at this moment, what would you have them do?
I would have them bring their key consultants and thinkers and people on the ground, their ground game, people from Indivisible, other organizations. I would have people who are conservative in the Democratic Party and liberal or radical in the Democratic Party, and I would put them in a room together. And I would hammer out an immediate action plan. And I would hammer out key messages. I live between Chicago and Santa Fe. I'm in Santa Fe for the moment. My residence is in Chicago. And I went to a rally yesterday, and there was no messaging, there was no strategy behind it, but there was the will of the people to show that they cared. So who is going to galvanize that energy around the country and for people to give them action steps? Okay, today do this. Tomorrow, do that. Or just here's 3 messages. Now I'm told that's very Western, and maybe it's 4 messages. But I'm saying that there needs to be leadership where the Senate and the Congress come together, the Democratic Party leadership, and stand up and show us that there is a reason to believe that you are not just ensconced in your beltway mentality, but understand the implications that are going to happen around the world. And don't tell me you're picking and choosing your moments. I want to know that you all understand this is an Armageddon moment. And a month from now, it's too late. You see how quickly they're moving. They were ready. Now, I'm glad you all took vacation. I did too. I just took a sabbatical. But I would have thought maybe you'd had your staffers developing a plan and saying, what executive orders would the president, let's just think about, what do you think he's going to do? Maybe we should be prepared with a few key talking points or actions, or like filibuster the shit out of these people. And shame people and show the American public. Now, I want to know what happened to the price of eggs. Ben, I thought this was all about the price of eggs. I thought it was about the economy and affordable housing. But obviously, you know what it was about? racism, sexism, controlling women's bodies. I mean, isn't that really what's going on? I mean, who cares, it seems, about the price of eggs? Now we have very good reasons why the price of eggs are going up because of the bird flu and blah, 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 blah. So what I want to know is, yes, I believe that Donald Trump and his minions are an existential threat to democracy. But you see, they've been planning this a long time. So I want to know, where are the long-term Democratic Party's plans? I'm just a little consultant from Chicago. You know, I work with community-based organizations. I left the party structure because I couldn't stand it. I admit it.
I feel what you're getting at exposes a rift or a series of rifts in the Democratic Party, and that Donald Trump understands where those rifts are and those divisions are, and he's playing them for what it's worth, so that it's very hard for Democrats to come with a united stand. I could go through everything. So the first point you made about the price of eggs, which had me smiling. There's a story in today's Bright One, Chicago Sun-Times. Eggs have turned into filet mignon. This is on the section of the business section of the Sun-Times, what exists now, which is, it's down to 2 pages. But the point is, it's not a front page story. It's a page 12 story buried, the price of eggs. And so the notion left over from the Clinton years, the mantra of the Clinton campaign is that it's the economy, stupid. Everything is the economy.
Yes.
And that is a mantra that Democrats embraced, mainstream Democrats embraced, and nothing else mattered. Think about what that says. Nothing else matters except something as basic as the price of eggs, something as basic as whether you have a job. That's all that matters. Well, what we learned in this last election is that that's not true. We've learned that. We already kind of knew it, but Donald Trump proved that in this last election, that the price of eggs doesn't, the economy doesn't matter. It was a successful economy by and large, by all conventional standards, and Kamala Harris still lost. So
Right.
the Democrats don't even have, this is what I'm leading up to. They don't even have a conventional strategy anymore. Their old strategy is outdated. Donald Trump has successfully played.
I am a consultant.
Divisions.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I'm a consultant. I've been paid by groups to work with them to get power over many years. And I once ran campaigns and for the most part won a lot. And I would say that, as I said, that they should bring their consultants to the table. At the same time, I say, fire them, get rid of them, get rid of the consultant class of all the people who know better.
Do you bring them to the table before or after they get fired?
You know what? What I want to see is young people. Okay, I want to understand. I am a 66-year-old woman, and I have had more than one abortion in my life. That was my choice, my body, my choice, not your body, my choice. This is my body, my choice. I want to know why every single woman and young woman in America did not stand up to say, you do not have control over my body. I'm flabbergasted. I'm horrified. I'm not saying there aren't a lot of people who care about politics, and I am certainly not alone. There's, many more people much more involved in electoral politics than I am, and my hat's off to them. But what I want to understand is, when you have such a fundamental right at risk, your actual control over your own body, well, we got a problem here, that we could not turn out young women. And frankly, I'm sorry, Schumer, you're a great guy. I like you, but you are old as shit now, and you got to go, as does all the senior leadership. You are seniors. You did not develop a new base of leaders. Where are they? I want to see leadership that stands up, that takes risks, that it's not just, when I say 3 talking points, when I work with our clients, we are different. than a lot of other firms. I don't tell my clients what to say. We go to our clients and our leaders and we ask them, what is it you want to say? So I don't believe that we are really listening to what our base is. And this has been historical, that we have lost our base. It started in the 80s when all the manufacturing left the Midwest and in the middle of America. And the Democratic Party did not say, oh, this is an opportunity. We need to invest in this community. You know who did? The Republicans. The Republicans said, we're going to go into the churches and we're going to go buy up local radio stations and local newspapers. And we're going to build a base in these communities in the very center of their values where they're feeling pain. And what was the Democratic Party doing? Well, I'm sorry. You cannot call people deplorables. You cannot say you don't respect people. And the fact that we did become a party of the elite, I'm sorry, that's not okay.